Teresa, you can start. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, the BUHS number 6 board. Today is May the 2nd. And first order of business is I'd like to provide some introductions. There's some new people here. First off, I'd like to introduce Mary Ann Gardner. She's the new Vernon representative. Welcome to the board. And I think everyone else actually is here. We have a full house today with our student representatives, member of the administrative staff. First order of business will then be the clerk's report. And is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 4th, 2011?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or amendments, corrections? Yes, sir.
Just one, and this is my fault. The finance meeting that was to be held on April 6th was actually would have been at Green Street Central Office. It subsequently wasn't. I'm sure I just said Green Street. And,
Green Street
know,
School.
I
Got it.
Yeah,
I did the
yeah.
other board, school board.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so that's corrected to eliminate the word school, so at Green Street you
right.
can put office. Any other amendments or corrections to the minutes of April the 4th? There being none, then all in favor of approving the minutes of April 4th as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Were there any abstentions? Was everyone here for those?
I wasn't here.
So Russ will abstain for absenteeism. Any communications under the clerk's report this evening? Okay, there are no communications, so we're going to move into recognition of groups and individuals. There's no one here from the public this evening, so we're going to move into consent agenda. Is there a motion, please, to enter consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved. And is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ricky. Any questions? Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of going to consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're in consent agenda. Turn it over to finance first.
Okay.
Mr. Woodward.
Now I've made a second mistake. We did actually have an April 6th meeting. It was the April 20th meeting. So I'm 0 for 2 so far tonight.
I'm keeping score.
Okay. The April 6th meeting, Finance met and approved warrants numbers 1174, 1176 through 1180 in the amount of $216,777.21. In addition, warrants numbers 1181, 1183 through 1186, and 1189 through 1194 in the amount of $407,027.46. We approved payrolls from March 11th in the amount of $438,013.59, and from March 25th in the amount of $468,266.11. The other main subject at the meeting was we had Robert Clark, in charge of the facilities, starting to review with us some things that he feels we need to be looking at for work, and we also had a review of a potential change in boiler fuel to switchgrass, at least an initial look at it, and a sample.
A sample testing.
Yeah. The April 20th meeting, most people were not available, so that was not held. Our next meeting is actually tomorrow. It changed from
Wednesday.
Okay, it is changed back to Wednesday. Okay.
Well, according to the note from Jim Kane, he has it for the 4th.
Okay.
Is
well,
that
that's
okay
what
with you, Scott? Is that okay with you, Ruth?
Oh, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
I just need to know which day. I don't want to show up there both days.
So the 4th at
That would be Wednesday in our normal meeting. I wasn't quite sure why.
yeah, he
showed
warned
up
it that
both
way.
here.
It's
Yeah.
been warned that way.
Yeah, it's been warned. It's actually been warned for tomorrow, I think, in the paper.
It was in the paper for
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's what it says on the one here.
yeah.
Really?
And it says that, but I didn't actually look at the date when I saw Jim's note today, so
Yeah, his note is for the 4th.
Yeah, let's assume
I don't
it's
think
on
that's a
the 4th.
problem, right?
Is
You
that
can
a-
just warn that tomorrow.
It's been changed.
Oh, it has been changed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Wednesday at 7:45. And that's it for finance.
Okay. We'll then go on to planning and policy.
Planning and policy met today. We have several policies that come up for review. We've our initial discussion on those. We did identify a few problems or concerns. Policy F16, the head lice policy. We feel that a lot of that policy is aimed at younger kids. We're not sure how that would best apply to the high school, so we would like to hand that to the administration to review and give us
Okay.
our feedback.
Ian, why don't we handle the specifics of those policies under the new business section?
Okay.
So we'll come back to it. So I think in this session under consent agenda, it would really be anything that planning and policy has specifically agreed on that we can handle in consent agenda. So you may not have done anything that.
Okay. We did not finalize anything.
Okay. But you'll be prepared during new business then to discuss those policies because that's where they're warned in the agenda. Okay. Teacher Curriculum Committee?
We met earlier this evening as well, and we had some discussion with the administration related to the English grouping conversations that have gone on, and at our next meeting in 2 weeks from today, we're going to have a presentation from the English department. They were given the task of coming up with a proposal of some, making some suggestions on ways to work with the English curriculum. So they're going to come to us in 2 weeks. Also, we've kind of planned out the rest of the spring as far as what else we're going to be doing, looking at 1% funding and things like that. And later on, we have a couple of teachers to present as new hires for replacements for retiring teachers. And Jim's going to be talking about some other things at the high school later on. And then Ron brought us all up to speed also on the collegiate high school and some new additions to that, and to let some of the new board members know some about the collegiate high school.
I'll just distribute
Okay.
the summary to board members that were not here.
So yeah, Superintendent Staley will pass that out to people that weren't a part of TCC to get them. And that's it.
Okay. Ron, do you want to discuss that in your administrative report?
I can do a brief update. I had thought just that the teacher curriculum committee would see that, and then everybody else could just take a read, and if there's questions in the future,
Okay.
we can bring it back then.
Okay, great. So BAMS committee?
BAMS committee met this morning, and we spent some time going over looking at the new teams for next year because of one teacher moving on, some reconfiguring of some of the team structures. So we spent some time looking at that. We also went through with Ingrid Crisco her results of her 360 evaluation. So we spent some time doing that as well this morning. And we looked at the diversity day schedule, what things that the middle schools will be doing for diversity day this Friday, and spent some time looking at some of the leadership council committees that are upcoming that will be looking at some initiatives within the middle school.
Okay. And you'll have some announcements and things under your administrative report? No? Oh, okay. All right, Career Center?
He said we were going to fast track it.
Got it.
Do you want to comment on that, Ruth? Or
You do such a good job.
I do such a good job. We're going to get to a different set of notes. The newly constituted Career Center Committee met with Ruth and I and Dave Coughlin last week, I guess it was. Time flies. And primarily talked about the process for a new assistant director and the setting up selection and so forth, and a couple of other things that Dave is hoping to work on programmatically. We would like to have one more member on our committee since there are only two of us, so I would pass that along to the chair. to see if we could beef ourselves up a little bit.
Okay. Any volunteers?
When do you meet?
Well, we've only had one meeting so far because we want to see when it's convenient for people. We met at noon. It could be at the convenience of the committee. It's a new committee. There is the Regional Career Center Advisory Board, which consists of superintendents and administrators and board members from other schools that meets 4 times a year. But this is a BUHS number 6 specific subcommittee of this board, and we envision meeting probably once every couple of months or so. Not necessarily, certainly not as at the regularity like the TCC or Finance Committee. So it would not be a lot of heavy lifting, but as a member from an outlying town, that might be of interest. I don't know what they've already got you signed up for, but
Oh, everything.
everything.
I'd be willing to be.
Okay.
Okay.
See, that was easy.
That was, yeah. So, that is the Career Center's report.
Yes.
You're all set.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. That's it.
So then we're finished with consent agenda. Are there any other items for consent agenda this evening? There being none, all in favor of approving consent agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is unanimous. We'll move into the administrative reports. And I'll start with BAMS.
Well, I don't really think I have a report this evening. We did discuss an internal transfer this morning, but
Right.
it was by way of information, I believe.
Okay.
And Ricky,
And there's one thing that I forgot to mention that I meant to that I don't know if you're going to mention or not, Ingrid, is that the BAMS committee got to meet the new members of the office staff this morning.
yes.
Right.
They went for the day, having their first coffee break at 25 with Bruce. Not really, it's a joke. They were working in the teacher's lounge when we went looking for them, but yes, that was great. They got to meet members of the board. And our committee meeting is early, 7:30, so I very much appreciate the board members coming to that.
Coffee and donuts next time.
All right, but you're not going to be there.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Okay.
Right. So that the board knows, I've offered to stand in because there are currently 3 members of the BAMS committee. So if someone's absent from those meetings, I've offered to step in and fill in so that they can have a quorum for the meeting. Okay. Career Center Administrative Report.
So quickly, I just have a few quick pieces here. The announcement that Colin Ryan, who's actually a stand-up comedian from Burlington, will be here during Activity Day, BUHS, giving a show tickets, but the show is already funded. Excellent for CCV and intro to college study classes, and it is about the economy of me and the personal economy, marketing themselves and students and things like that. So it's really looking like a very interesting show, and teachers can get tickets for their classes to come during Activity Day. They can get the tickets from May 2nd through May 6th by seeing Fran Kelsey. Something they're promoting, and it sounds like a very interesting show that's going on that day.
What's the date of the event?
It is on May 11th, Activity Day, from 9:30 to 11. Financial Literacy in the Economy of Me is the full title. The other piece is that application approvals for the Career Center scheduling and in conjunction with BUHS is well underway at this time. We took some time last week. Ann Doran, Career Center counselor, and myself met with Chris Pratt, Paul Cohen. Really spent a good full day working through a lot of the glitches of scheduling. And kudos to Chris and Paul working through a lot of the big heavy lifting of those things. really doing a good job on that. It seems to be a real nice mesh between the Career Center and BUHS and making the accommodations that we all need for all our students. So it's a real nice experience.
Great.
And lastly, I just want to say thank you. I do realize and have read the minutes. I was unable to attend last time. Your approval of my resignation.
Oh, wait a minute. Did we
no,
do that?
sorry, no, it's in
Oh, wait a
the minutes
minute,
and
hold on a
everything was
second. We haven't approved those minutes.
I have thoroughly enjoyed my past 4 years being the assistant director of the Wyndham Regional Career Center and everything that comes with it. It's truly been a great position, and working with all the wonderful people, students, teachers, faculty, the board. I've only grown and really enjoyed it. Can't say that enough. It's bittersweet to leave, however, it's time to go home. And going back to our home state of New Jersey, be with our family and friends is the biggest priority on our plate, and it feels like the right thing to do. So I will take this experience to the New Jersey Department of Education and hopefully improve that as well. So once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll be missed.
Thank you.
All right. Student council. Take a deep breath.
We don't have too much to report about, but we can just do a quick summary. Next week, we'll be having elections for positions for next year, for president, vice president, and for new board members, or board representatives. And the survey that we created for students to take about their teachers last semester is completed now, so I think we're at the point where we're just collecting data and giving it all back to teachers. So that was the last thing we were working on. And the next thing we're working on, our kind of final annual project, is the variety show. So we did some audition things today, and we'll do more on Wednesday. And then we'll see what we have for our variety show. It should be pretty fun. I think we have some good acts.
Are we doing anything with the Jennifer?
Speak up, Maddie.
I was just asking. I don't know if we're doing anything with the Jennifer Murphy Scholarship, because I know we usually give money from our funds to seniors.
I know we're giving that out, but I'm not sure.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. So just hold that close to the vest.
So,
I understand that there are AP exams starting.
yeah.
When do they start?
They start with Friday.
Friday?
I think.
Yeah. My house is quiet.
Mm-hmm. They're like 5-hour tests.
Yeah, that's what I understand. So there's a whole slew of them that start over the next week, I think.
And then some students have SATs this weekend.
And there's SATs as well? Wow.
Yes. Saturday.
So a lot of testing.
Yeah. Lots of standardized testing.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
Nope, that's our report.
Great. Thank you. Ron, you want to go? Or Jim, rather.
Jim, yeah.
Jim, please.
Well, at some point we'll come to these two gentlemen.
Yes.
But as the board knows, the high school will be losing two really important individuals. And those are two to my left, Chris Pratt and Jamal Mosley. And I'm proud of both of them. I mean, to get their own principalships in the same year obviously means a lot to them, but it means a lot to me too, for them. So I want to discuss with you a little bit about recruitment and organization of the school. Now this year, when we had 3 math teachers announced they were leaving, we only planned to replace 2. And we had 1 science teacher who was leaving, and we have chosen not to replace him. And the reason we've done that is, and I shared it with you at a prior board meeting, is that as the school gets smaller, and we are shrinking a little bit, it's pretty difficult to bring on teachers and then the next year find out that we shouldn't have done so, and then say that we can't keep them any longer. So with the departure of 2 key administrators, I needed to at least apply the same thoughts to administration. And I've considered that because enrollment's going, instead of replacing 2 assistant principals, we should replace 1 with an assistant principal and the other with a dean of students. Dean of students is a school year-long job. And assistant principals are year-round. The dean of students would be the first person across all 880 students next year who would deal primarily with attendance, discipline, restorative justice, all other forms of helping students to get through the problems that they're experiencing on that first level. Higher level discipline would still go to assistant principals. Harassment, anything that's not solved at the dean of students level would go higher. It would leave the assistant principals more time to deal with more tasks that would come from the 3rd assistant principal's office. We'd go from 3 houses to 2. 3 houses of 335 students each, which are really below 300 now, to 2 houses of 435-ish. The alternative, of course, is to leave things the way it is, the way they are. But the dean of students position is not new to the district. It was here before I came in 2003, and it had been here a long time. I served 1 year with that individual and then replaced him with this individual on my left, Chris Pratt. And a year after that, because I felt the organization of the school needed restructuring, we had 3 assistant principals. So, with the difficulty in replacing 2 people like this year, I'm trying to avoid the difficulty of doing part of it again next year. If you look at all aspects of the budget and couldn't support 3 assistant principals. So I need some direction from the board tonight on whether to interview for 2 assistant principals or 1 assistant principal and a dean of students.
Okay, so I'm not sure that this requires a motion more than it is it's a change in structure, which is really something that you can recommend to the board that which way you wish to go. And I think that the board and Superintendent Staley can comment on that, and we can say yes, because I don't think that it's really a policy issue.
Okay.
Unless I'm wrong, unless some of the board members think that we should sanction it one way or the other. Thoughts, Ruth?
Well, is it written anywhere that this school shall have a principal and 3 assistant principals?
No.
If
No,
it's
it's
not,
not.
then
It's not in any
I
policy.
don't see that we need to vote on it.
Right.
Thank you for
I think
advising us, but
I think it's right. You're really just advising us of what you would like to do.
Okay.
Superintendent Staley, do you have a?
Yeah, no, we've discussed the options, and it makes a lot of sense. And Jim did a pretty thorough review with the TCC committee earlier, so
Right.
yeah, I support the recommendation to change the structure a little bit.
Okay. So TCC committee members, is there any discussion there that you want to share with the board? Russ?
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Jim and Jamal about the restructuring, and it seemed that it was a good thing, and that would allow the assistant principals to concentrate on certain aspects, and have the dean of students look at others. But I think it's a win-win. So it looked like a good structure, and in some sense, it sort of consolidates things, because as I was asking, 4 advisors were spread over 3 houses. Now it'll be more 2 and 2, and it'll match up. And
Counselors.
Counselors.
Council.
Darn, I'm still an eighth grader. Next year I'll catch on. But anyways, so yeah, we had a fairly robust discussion, and I don't think there were any real concerns raised.
Okay. So, Jim, I think you're all set. Jim, I think you're all set. That it's your prerogative within your delegated authority to go ahead and make that change. Okay? Anything else under your report?
Diversity Day for us is this Friday too. Share that.
Bob?
I just wondered, I've been asked a couple of times by parents the prom location and how, how that was, so not specifically the place, but the town location, the city, yes.
You wondered if there's any significance to the fact that I might live over there?
No, I wasn't thinking you were going to gain anything by
Easier
it, but
supervision.
there was concern, right? There was concern about, the distance, and I'm sure it doesn't relate to parent concern about gas mileage. I think there's probably other things that concern. So I didn't have an answer.
That's okay. The advisors came to me and said the students, wanted to go to the Best Western. And, that in terms of other places, they've been downtown Brattleboro for
Yeah.
the Legion.
Okay.
Yeah. In the River Garden.
They've been to the River Garden. They've also been to Bellanote.
Bellanote, great place.
And
Good place for a party.
Also, just about as far as the Best Western is, right? Or am I wrong?
What's that?
they felt that the Best Western was within the same relative distance as Bellanote.
Yeah.
Is it?
And for a few miles, I went with what they wanted to do.
So you're going Best Western.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Ruth?
Mr. Dunn, I'd like to query Mr. Woodward as to where the prom was when he was here.
Oh.
So you lined me right up for it. It was in the gym.
Yeah.
Really?
It was
Here?
when I was here.
And I can see the excitement on their faces as I say that.
Thousands of dollars put into
Yes.
ornament.
Gym, right.
We actually.
Where was the gym?
We used to work.
Where was the gym? Right where it is?
It had a dirt floor, David.
I was
back
wondering
then.
whether it had a floor or not.
Right where it is right now, and we decorated it all
Yeah.
up.
And the
that's where
wagons waited
prom was
outside?
every year.
It's
And
lovely.
yeah,
Powder blue tips. What was that?
yes, right.
Ruffles.
Well, there's some underclass students here. They might want to bring that back for next year.
I won't be back.
Jim, do you have any other part of your report before we acknowledge these?
Oh, I have a question for the, so the promise there, are arrangements being made for graduation? Is there a stream of events that are going to occur? Because we have now 2 meetings before graduation.
Yes, there'll be a graduation.
Thank goodness.
And there will be a stream of events.
There'll be a stream of events, right? Right.
And underclassmen awards assembly, and all that I'll get to you as soon as I can.
Okay. And will that probably be best to post it on the website as well, so we can start locking up those days. Okay. And is the Eames committee working on its,
Yes.
and the other scholarship committees working on their scholarships?
Mhm.
Great. Great.
Kind of an independent committee, and it does. Principals of this high school have never really been on it,
Ah,
so
great.
since I couldn't fight my way into it, I just sort of sit back and let it go, and it seems to do a great job without me, so it tells me something right there. But they are meeting all the time.
Okay.
Will all the awards be announced at that ceremony that are offered in the counseling office?
At which ceremony?
The one the night before graduation, or some of them like privately sent?
No, I think the board and you folks may know too that we wanted to move some of the ones from graduation day or evening into the awards, senior awards night.
Right.
Because they have no reason other than the fact that they were done that way in 1945 to be that way. So I think there's going to be 4 or 5 awards now given at graduation. The rest will be,
Right, there's a set of traditional ones, and we've moved the Eames back to the, or did we move the Eames? We didn't,
moved
did we?
it. But there's a set of, there's just traditions, David,
Yes,
and
yes.
there's that thing, this is the way we've always done it.
Right.
So, the way we've always done it is prevailing with about 5 of them.
Right,
And the rest are going to the
Because-
senior awards night, and then some of the senior awards things
the
are going
percentage
to be
comes
done
out of the-
during,
Yeah.
by departments, by calling students in and recognizing them in front of their teachers.
Right.
So in the past.
And the historical precedence has been that those ones we do at graduation are people who come in from out of town to give those. Not that it's necessarily the way we should do it, but that's just the way it's been done. Yes.
Some of those families have no one to come.
Right.
I was just gonna say, in the past, there were, you said 5 or so given at graduation, or was it more?
There's
More.
More.
Oh, and that's what we're gonna do now, is
Yeah.
only give 5.
It's either 5 or 6, or 4, between 4 and 6.
Okay.
I would just point out, and I'm arguing one way or another, but even in the case where there may not be anybody here from that family, some of these are very long-standing awards that citizens place particular extra value on for whatever reason, just because they have been at graduation. So there is some of that feeling out there too, regardless of whether that family still has somebody to present it.
Right, which is why I think maybe somebody suggested that they put them in the program.
Right, they have been in the program.
Oh, they already are?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So the decision's really yours, Jim, I guess, and yours and Ron's. So
Right. Been made.
maybe let us know let us know next meeting which ones you're going to do.
Okay.
And my final request is May 1st, which is decision day, has come and gone. So the students should have all made their decisions for college for the fall. Is it possible to get the list of acceptances and schools that they're going to so I can write that article?
Well, you know the answer is going to be yes, but I need to just check and see with Dr. Heather and see when.
Okay. Can you just send me an email and let me know? That'd be great. All right.
So before we get to my report,
Yes.
I would just, since we have all of the assistants here tonight, and they're all leaving actually, I'd like to just make sure that we publicly acknowledge Sean, Jamal, and Chris for the service that they've done for the.
Yep. Thank you for all your work.
I've had the.
We all want invitations.
Yeah, I've had the distinct pleasure to work very closely with each one of them, and they are just top-notch individuals. And I know where they're going. Is going to be really pleased with their work, and we're going to make some trips right up the river. It's easy to see Chris and my old stomping grounds in southeastern Mass, and then I've got 2 kids in New Jersey that I have to check in on. So I'll update you on these characters. But thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ron, do you want to go
I
or
do
do you want
have-
me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. So now the board's back up to its full complement with Marianne Gardner coming on from Vernon. I'm going to put out a new list of committee assignments. Marianne has expressed interest in a number of committees, so I'll send out a new list. I've given the changes to Ron. Barb will get that to me. I'll review it and send that out to everyone. The other thing, just as a communication that I received, David Gartenstein had sent me, a former board member, had sent me an email with information or requesting what our status is on the Fiber Connect project, which is the $50 million project within Vermont to increase high-speed lines. And I just wanted to let fellow board members know that that's in process. The administration's working on that. There are a lot of issues with it and things to deal with, but that there is an effort internally to look at that. In addition to that, I'm not sure if I commented at the last board meeting, but with the Brooks House fire, we did put in place, and there was a mechanism. Board members received an email from me that we were trying to figure out how many students were in those apartments. It turned out that there was only one student from the school in the apartment, and she was well taken care of. So it wasn't an issue for us to look at transporting or making sure that there was a transport arrangement for that student if, in case she was relocated to Hinsdale or Chesterfield. So that worked out very, very well. Other than that, that's it for the chair's report. Ruth? Oh, no? Oh, you don't have a question? Okay. So that's it for the chair's report.
Firstly, could I ask?
Yes.
The first item that you talked about was the capability of fiber optics.
Yes. Well, the Fiber Connect project, it's a huge amount of money that's going to be eligible to Vermont to increase the fiber optic network within the state and to do what I think what's called the last mile, which is to go to the most rural homes and make sure that all of Vermont is connected with high-speed internet.
I received a couple of emails about that and it seemed to have a time sensitive.
Yeah, we're all set with an extension.
Yes, there's time, right, and that extension's been given already.
Okay.
One of the issues is it's quite a bit more money than the local schools have paid for the connectivity, and we are able to apply E-rate federal money to it, but and the impact is not until fiscal year 13, so that gives us some time. When we originally met with the provider, they told us there was an 18-month window to make a decision, and then all of a sudden we hear that there's a May 1st deadline. So we're all set in terms of an extension, and we'll be meeting with the provider, I think mid-May. So, but it will require more money from the local towns, and we're hoping that select boards will actually contribute rather than just schools, because it is connecting schools and municipal libraries.
The emails I received were from Wyndham Regional Commission
Yep.
members.
Yes. And those dollar figures were incorrect. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did.
Yeah, it's
It
like
didn't seem very large.
it's like $12,000 per small district.
Oh, that's it?
Well, but if a district's paying, just about nothing,
Yeah.
to add 12,000 is significant. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Okay.
So as far as my report, I was hoping that, I know we have an executive session a little bit later, and then I was hoping that you could review my 360 results in executive session. I don't think that would take too long. I wanted to give you an update on the start time process. I've got some survey results, the questionnaires. I'd just like to run through some gross numbers in terms of the different districts, and then I want to talk a little bit about some of the bus route times that would be changed. But for the BAMS surveys, there were about, there were 42 in favor and 19 that did not support in terms of parents that responded to those surveys. For BUHS, there were about 60 that supported, 73 that did not. Many of the highest number that did not was related to after-school jobs being affected, and then there was quite a number of people that talked about real-world experience, important to have kids starting at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, that sort of thing, and I'll speak to that in a little bit. Green Street, about 30 in support, 12 against. Oak Grove, 16 in favor, 12 against. Academy, 21 in favor, 14 against. Guilford Central, 20 in support, 38 against. Big issue in terms of Guilford was the elementary students' families require more after-school care, considering that. Vernon, 22 in favor, 10 against. Putney, 15 in favor and 6 against. So kind of a mixed, when we tallied it all up, it's a little more in favor than against. It's interesting, the comments and reasons for support and against. The district-wide committee has started to look at these results, kind of categorize the most important negative aspects of it, and some of it actually, when you look at the revised time pickups, it's kind of instructive. I don't have all of the districts here, but let me just run through a few. So for Brattleboro Town, there's 6 bus runs for the elementary, there's 5 for the high school. So B6, that just defines the particular bus in the run. The elementary pickup time is currently 7:30. It would be 7:35, so not much change on the elementary run. And again, there is no high school pickup on this one.
It'd be later than the new system? Even though they'd be starting earlier?
Yeah. Well, they're starting a little earlier, and it is 5 minutes difference later. Yeah. For B5, currently it's 7:45. It would be 7:30, so there's a 15-minute earlier pickup there. What's interesting is the high school pickup time, which currently is 6:47, would be 8 o'clock.
Wow.
I'll say more about that
Almost an hour and
as we
15
continue.
minutes. Yeah.
B4, it's 7:34 now, 7:34, it would be the same pickup time. For the high school, which is currently 7:43, it would be 8:07.
6:43.
I'm sorry, yeah, thank you. 6:43 currently would be 8:07. So in terms of the real-world application, for a high school kid to get up, to get ready and dressed and be at that bus stop, that's not real world. The 8 o'clock pickup is more like real world in terms of getting up and getting to a bus stop. B3, elementary is currently 7:40. It would be 7:30, so a 10-minute earlier on that. High school is 7:10 currently. It would be 8:05. B2, currently 7:35. It would be 7:30, so only a 5-minute change there. For the high school, 6:42 to 8:05. So quite a difference there. B1, Brattleboro, pickup was currently 7:55, would be 7:30. So that's the biggest change in terms of the Brattleboro system, from 7:55 to 7:30. And then the high school is currently 6:53 to 8:05.
So we're not talking about a large number of minutes here.
Yeah, not for elementary.
No.
Now I have the outlying schools, I'll just run through them, like Vernon, V1 is currently 7:44, it would be 7:30. High school run is currently 6:55, would be 8:03.
So the high school moves an hour, and most of the schools are moving 15 to
15
20
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
Maximum, according to what you're...
Yeah, like Vernon 2, it's a 7:50 pickup now, it would be 7:30. And the high school is 6:42 to 8. So there's a distinctive change. B3 is about the same. So most of the districts are pretty similar to that. I do not have Guilford, and that's still kind of the a one that we really need to consider and make sure that, I think as I mentioned the last time, safety of the elementary kids walking on some of those roads might be a particular issue that we need to make sure that is not a dangerous condition.
I've been speaking with the Guilford principal, and also I went to one of the board meetings, and it's partly complicated because Guilford owns its own buses.
Right.
And also because of the amount of muddy roads that we have to deal with in the spring. So it definitely seemed to hit Guilford negatively a little bit more than any of the other towns, I'm sure of that. So I think, hence in the survey, 36 against, I think was a heartfelt response by the people of Guilford that, this could be better for us. So I would have to report as a representative from Guilford that it was definitely that feeling in town. Yeah. And because we own our own buses, we have our own bus drivers. They drove my kid to kindergarten and they're still driving. And so, it's sort of a tradition. And a nice one, I think, from the town of Guilford. So I think it's gonna be a little bit more wrenching for the town of Guilford than any of the other towns.
Yeah, in terms of the process, the committee is looking at, I'm meeting with John Gagnon specifically again, and to have a better understanding of what the issues are. The after-school issues, I don't think are significant as I think people thought they would be.
I think it was our middle school kids in Guilford will actually have to start earlier, so it is going to be beneficial to the high school kids starting later in Guilford, but the middle school kids will actually have to start earlier than they do now.
Right.
So, it's an advantage for the high school kids from Guilford, but it's actually a disadvantage on this philosophy of starting later.
Yeah, but that's true with Dummerston 7th and 8th graders and Putney 7th and 8th
I
graders
think it was
as well.
more exacerbated for Guilford.
Yeah. So we're looking at all
That's
that,
I'm reporting,
and
I've heard negative aspects to it
yeah.
from my town.
The committee's meeting the middle of next week, and I'm hoping that we can make a recommendation either way, probably by the end of this month.
So will you bring that to the board to make that recommendation, or how you propose?
It really is an administrative decision.
Right. It's not really a policy issue.
Right.
Ron, is there any discussion about athletics at the high school?
Yeah, and the athletic director has done a nice job of researching other districts that have 8:30, 8:40 start times and what they've done to accommodate that. And we're actually pulling all of that information for our committee meeting next week. I have talked to directly some athletic directors that had changed 10 years ago, and their feeling was that was really a red herring. That once they made the change and adjusted the schedules, it works out pretty well.
To the degree I've been hearing negative responses, it's been based on that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, finish with the administrative reports. We'll go into there's no unfinished business to discuss. Board retreat. I put that on the agenda because we have a number of new members on the board that I thought it would be good if we sort of go offline and talk about some things, set some objectives, hear from everybody what they may be interested in the board looking at and examining for the upcoming year. I don't know what everyone's schedule is, but my proposal would be something like a Saturday afternoon or Saturday late afternoon going into an early evening. And it would just be us, the board members. What's everybody's thoughts? Yeah. So I'll recommend a Saturday, probably in early June before the graduation, or try and do it then, and we'll see if we can get everybody together. And then I'll work on a place and a venue for it to see what we've got. I think we have some money in the budget if we need to spend a little money on food and things like that.
Especially for a Saturday, I'll need as much notice as possible to get that off the mark.
Right, because of your work commitments. Yeah.
And David, I just want to point out that there's only 2 Saturdays before graduation in June, and one is throwing up the Heifer Saturday, so that might be, so that limits us
I
to
would be
one.
out completely on that one.
Yeah.
I would. It's the busiest Saturdays of the year for me in June. So.
Got it. How about Sundays?
Sunday mornings sound good.
Sunday morning? Sunday morning might be a good idea because then we set a time limit and say, 11 o'clock we're out. Something like that. So we meet for a couple hours or noon or something like that. How about that?
But this is not the third Sunday.
Got it.
You're okay with
Saturday or Sunday, but anyway.
What's that?
Jamal's okay
Jamal,
with that.
you all right with that?
I would ask, why wouldn't you just keep a Monday and
We could do a Monday night too.
maybe have dinner, do it that way, like at a 5:30
I'll tell you what.
lunch dinner.
Yep. I'll propose a couple of dates, and then let's see what the score is. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, Sunday the 12th, I can't do it.
Sunday. Okay. So let me get back to everyone with a couple of dates, and let's see if we can put it together. And I think maybe Ron's idea is a good one. We look at not the first or third Monday, but we look at maybe something like the second Monday in June. Okay. Policy review. I'm going to turn this back over to you, Ian.
Okay.
And since this is the first reading, you can tell about what changes you're going to pursue because there's still 2 more to go. And I usually attack on the second. Go for it.
All right, so we had 5 policies that have come up. C8, board relations with school personnel. On our read-through in planning and policy, we had some concerns with the wording of one part of that. Specifically in the section relations with other school staff. Part 1 of that, individual board members will communicate with staff members on matters of school business only at the direction of the board as a whole. We were concerned with the limitations of that. We had a number of concerns. One, this could, in theory, affect just a casual conversation because it doesn't really define matters of school business. If I ask Jim how his day was, if I see him in Hannaford, that could be school business. In theory, I could be in violation of the policy. It doesn't allow for informational discussions if we need to get information. So we were concerned about the limitation of this, and we're looking for a way to reword it.
So my suggestion would be reword it and bring it back. To bring back a recommended change. And that would be consistent with really all the policies, is that your committee says, okay, we don't feel that this fits, we've discussed it, we've tackled it, here's our recommended change, and we bring it to the board for the general board to review.
Ian, there's some information that you probably have most recently received through the Vermont School Board Association that talks about working as a board as opposed to an individual board member on behalf of the board. I think that's what really that one deals with. So there's a couple of documents that spoke about board ethics and appropriate work of the board that you might take a look at that would help shape that particular one.
The second policy was on head lice, policy F16. We felt that a lot of the head lice policy seems to be geared at younger children. And we, as a committee, were unsure exactly how that would best be handled in the high school, so we were hoping that we could hand that to administration and that they could read through that and give us their opinion on that.
I don't think Mr. Day has that problem.
So
or Jamal.
I'm assuming.
You know what? I have had that problem.
Really?
Yes. I'm very good at fighting headlights. Yes, we've handled that in my house.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So I'm assuming there have been outbreaks at the middle school and high school, and so there would be the need for those procedures. A way around this might be just to use the SU policy, which is essentially the same, and then the procedures under F16 are pretty well outlined that the BUHS Health Department follows.
If I can jump in.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that we're just asking the administration and the nurses and BUHS number 6 to just take a read of it and make sure that there's nothing that we're missing, or that because we're not here doing head lice checks. You know what I mean? So that if there's something that we should be doing that we're not doing in this policy, that it's meeting all the needs of the school.
Right.
Okay. Selection of library materials?
We had a note on G6. G4 and 5 were fine. G6, complaints about instructional materials.
Okay.
There is a provision in that.
So this is a new policy. It's never been adopted before.
No, there is.
Is it?
No, there is one.
There is? The date warned and date adopted is not filled in on that. On G6?
Yeah, it's an old policy that's updated.
Is it?
Isn't on any of them.
It's not
There's
even-
none of any?
Yeah, because these are policies we're going to adopt or not.
Right, usually though they have a date they were last, okay.
It was November 2nd, 2009.
Oh, 09? Okay.
Yeah.
So we've recently done that one.
Yeah, all the ones that were sent to us are blank.
They're blank, you're right.
On G6, in the implementation section, section 4, if the complaint is not resolved informally, the complainant will be supplied a packet of materials consisting of the district's instructional goals and objectives, material selection, policy statement, and procedure for handling objective. This packet will also include a standard printed form. The librarians were here, and they don't have access to that packet, and apparently had sought it out at a previous point in time and were unable to find it.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It just references it in violation of C8. A couple of members of the faculty were here to talk to us about that one, and they said that there's actually no. They in the past they've looked for a form in that packet and with the administration and couldn't find one. So that's something that just if we pass that policy will have to be created, and wanted to give a heads up to the administration of that.
Or it may exist somewhere.
Or it may exist
Just nobody
somewhere.
knows where.
No one can find
But
it.
to correct you, that's G6, not C8.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Anything else?
That was all of our notes on our first reading of
Great.
these 5.
So the normal path here would be to make recommended changes, highlight those, and send out new documents to all board members so that we can review them before the next meeting.
That will be done.
Okay, great. Then under, we talked about the administration changes. Is there then anything else that needs to come before the regular session this evening?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
From the high school, there's been the recommendation, and I'd like to move the recommendation of the hiring of Matthew Mills as the new physical education teacher. We looked at this through TCC, and the committee felt that he was the strongest candidate. They interviewed 47 people applied, and they interviewed 8 of them, and 2 came and taught class, and is the recommendation. So I'd like to move that.
Okay,
higher.
someone want to make a motion?
Second.
How many you got?
Just one more after this.
Oh, okay, so we'll do them together.
Okay, and the other one is the recommendation of the hiring of Alexander Kinlock, for the vacant math position. And for this one, there was 26 applicants that applied, 7 were interviewed, and this was the one that was brought forward by the committee.
So do you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to move the hiring of Matthew Mills for the new physical education teacher, and Alexander Kinlock as the new math teacher.
Second that one.
Ruth Barton has seconded it. Discussion? So this would be for the new school year?
Spelling of the name.
You can have both of these letters, and then you can have them.
Any other discussion? Any questions? All in favor of the new? Yes,
Or,
Sean.
did you miss D on this, on the
Not yet.
agenda?
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yes, I did miss G. We'll come. Can we come back to it?
Sure.
So all in favor of the motion to hire the 2 new teachers, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Anybody know? Good. All right. I'm remiss. Thank you, Sean, for pointing out that I missed the discussion of the sports team participation in playoffs and tournaments, which is policy LBP 15, which was emailed to everyone as part of the agenda for this evening. And Sean, do you want to address the issue?
Well, I was just wondering whether we should look at that again. I think when we passed it in '09, we went from 40% win-loss record down to 25%. And I was just wondering whether it would be time to renew or acquaint ourselves with that policy, just from a financial aspect, because it's very expensive for sports teams to go to playoffs, and it used to be 40%.
So why don't you make a motion to that effect to reopen that policy for consideration?
I would like to reopen the policy LBP 15 for reconsideration.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Marianne Gardner was the second. And discussion. So we put this back into planning and policy again and take a look at this again.
Yeah, it would seem that they should review it and.
Yeah, and then bring it back to the board.
Before we discuss it here.
Ruth?
In looking at this policy, I would urge the policy committee to also gather any information they can on the financial implications of when it went from 40 to 25, and what would be the implications if it went back to 40.
So they'll need some history and statistics.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So we're not here to debate that. We're just here really to discuss the reopening of the policy. That's the motion. Russ?
Yeah, I mean, and I also like in the similar sort of vein about looking at obviously the cost and what would be approved, but what's the benefit? I mean, what's the point? And is it pushing winners, or is it pushing competition? And what role tournaments play at this level and what difference? I mean, how many 25% winning teams would what we're sweeping in and out?
Right. And I think related to that, as we did 2 years ago, it'd be important to have coaches come and speak to that.
Right. So we need to open that up in that vein. So there's been a motion and a second. There's been some discussion. Any further discussion on the motion? There being none, then all in favor of reopening policy LBP 15 for reconsideration, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Scott Henry is opposed. Please note. Any other opposers? None? Any abstentions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Ian, will you let us know what you want for input, or you want to just talk? I mean, like, if you want coaches there, you need to let me know.
So the motion passes 8-1, and so the policy will be reopened. And it's not to be warned for a reading. It's more that you need to do the evaluation and come to the board, and then we'll start the public, because you need to make a recommendation to the board whether to change it or not. Okay? Are we all in agreement on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right. Anything else then for the regular agenda this evening? Then I'll move that we enter executive session to discuss personnel matter. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Ricky. Any discussion? Then all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. Motion's unanimous. We'll take
I get this graded drill thing tomorrow.
Jim, want to go in the conference? We'll retire to the conference room over there, and we'll continue the meeting.